So just out of respect to everybody's time, thanks for being on time and thanks for joining me this morning. I'm going to just open up and start this morning just with what I normally do when I'm working with a paid coaching client and just give you an idea. So I'm going to send you guys a copy of this, and I emailed a copy of this to most of you. And if you haven't got it, no problem. We'll get it to you in your hands today. This is just basically a template of the base of a paid coaching client's coaching session template that we go through. So this is something that you can use as a template for yourself to look at and to keep yourselves on track and to keep yourself accountable. And if you want to fill these out and send them to me before we do our sessions each month, that's great, and help you keep yourself accountable. But let me just show you what we track and what we measure when I'm working with coaching clients and working and keeping them on track. So the first thing we always track and measure how our listing inventory is doing first. So you'll see here what's your number of listings and what's your listings that you have currently. We look at the last 30 days and track the 30 days or the last 14 days. So you can either do a 2-week time period or a 30-day time period. For most of you, it'll make more sense to do a 30-day time period. So what were the number of listings that we took the last 30 days and the current number of listings that we have? And again, we go back to the why the listing focus, Wade, and why do you always start out with that? Again, it's 8 hours of time with the seller, the ability to spin 15 other buyers or sellers off a listing, and you're open for marketing. Just the benefits of being listing focused versus a buyer focused business. There's just so many benefits and so many more advantages being a listing focused and seller focused agent. So we track and measure and look at the listing side of things. Then we track and look at the buyer sales and what you're doing from the buyer standpoint and what you've done from the buyer standpoint. And then we look at completions and closings and track and measure the money that's coming in or the money that's not coming in, if that's the case for some of us. So we look at those. And then I look at your buyer leads. So you guys can look at this and say, okay, what does my buyer lead funnel look like? And then I want you to categorize your buyer lead funnel. A hot buyer lead is somebody who wants to do something and buy in the next 60, 90 days. That's a hot buyer lead. A warm lead is like 6-month time period to a year. And a cold buyer is more like a 1 year plus. Okay. On a hot lead, okay, on a hot buyer lead, write this down. I would be following up every 2-3 days. Every 2-3 day follow up for a hot buyer wanting to do something in 60, 90 days. A warm buyer wanting to do something 6 months time period, I would be doing every 2-3 weeks, marking myself and reminding myself of a follow-up every 2-3 weeks. And a cold, I would just put them into a drip, an auto email, something that's automated and systemized and taking care of it, and let the cold leads sit in that funnel and into that incubation period and into that template and into that auto thing. You look at your seller lead list. Again, the hot seller lead, somebody wants to listen the next 60, 90 days. Your warm, which is the next 6 months, and then your cold 1 year or longer. And again, same type of follow-up, reaching out, connecting with them, anything different, anything I can do to help, anything that's happening, anything changed in that. So it's every 2-3 days for a hot lead. Somebody wants to list the next 60, 90 days. It's every 2-3 weeks touching and reaching out and following up for a warm seller lead. And it's automated or systemized or dripped or keeping in touch with them through an automated template, email drip, something for a cold seller lead. Any questions about tracking your listing inventory? Any questions about tracking your sales? Any questions about tracking your productivity? Any questions about categorizing your buyer leads, categorizing your seller leads, and always looking at your buyer funnel leads and your seller funnel leads? Because if you don't have a buyer funnel lead funnel and you don't have a seller lead funnel, that's going to be a challenge for you, right? And looking at that. So one question here is, if you're following up every 2-3 days, what are you saying? Yeah, good question. So you check in and say, hey, how you doing? It's as simple as that. Or anything I can do to help. See anything different, anything new, any updates. So Aaron, it's not how you want to buy a house, how you want to list your house, how you want to buy a house, how you want to list a house. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just doing a subliminal, hey, any updates, anything I can do to help. Have you seen anything out there new? Right? There's touching base and checking in. How you doing? Right? And that's all you got to do every 2-3 days. You're not being an ambulance chaser and an ambulance killer and stalking them. You're just reaching out and any questions. Anything new? Any updates? Seen any new listings? Seen any off-market listings? Anything I can do to help, right? Any challenges out there? That's just touching base and just being a soft follow-up and a soft touch. Does that make sense, Aaron? Right? So it's not being a stalker and a pest and a bug. It's just, hey, anything I can do to help? How you doing? Any updates? Anything new? Every 2-3 days, just doing that, okay? And so it never gets old. Hey, just checking in. That's as simple as that. You don't have to go into detail on that. How you doing? That's all you have to do every 2-3 days, if that makes sense. Okay. Good question. Any other questions about follow-ups, touching base, the wording, the dialogue, and that? Make sure you calendar it. I'm a visual person, so I like to have either a book and a list of them or on the board up on the wall. Like, I like the visual side of things. Some of you might be more technically picking a day of the week for buyer and lead, a hot lead follow-up and a seller lead follow-up for buyers and sellers. Some of you might just calendar things for you, reminders, whatever works for you. The biggest thing is this: have a system and a process that's reminding you to follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Hot leads every 2-3 days, warm leads every 2-3 weeks, cold leads, put them in a system, touch base. All right, any other questions on that? Yeah, somebody just commented, ever since they've done a whiteboard and the visual, they've been way more on top of their leads. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that it's the whiteboard visual is like constantly poking me in the head, reminding me when I'm looking up and that I had to do that. I was a whiteboard on the wall kind of visual person as well, or on a booklet or things like that, and writing it down and having that visual was a huge help for me as well from a reminder and keeping on top of mine. If you're a calendar person or that, and calendaring the reminders, that's good too. Whatever you need to do to remind yourself, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Then we talk about what you're doing to working in the business. And I'll describe later in the conversation what I mean by working in the business and working on the business, guys. So working in the business is the stuff that needs the attention immediately. Working on the business is growth, development, improvement, and working on the business. We'll talk about that. Then we're looking at lead gen and prospecting and what's working for me. What do I need to do? What do I need to start to do? What do I need to continue to do? Or what do I need to do more of because it's working? And then taking the time and looking at your packaging. Does my marketing presentations pop? Does my pre-list and pre-buyer package like wow and awe? Does my branding, does my stuff, my material, my packaging, my all of that stuff, does it stand out, and does it impress, and does it look at it? A classic best example is these ingeniouses right here. Everything's about packaging, right? Everything with Apple. Nice soft silk finish on their boxes. This is just a set of iPhone headphones they're the packaging kings, right? And the way they package up, and you open up the little box, is almost like you're getting something from the jeweler and that, and you're opening it up, and the box literally screams and has a choir of angels singing as you open it up. Like, these guys are the masters of packaging. If you want to set yourself apart from your competitors, focus on your packaging, right? Focus on your tools, focus on your branding, focus on that stuff, and set yourselves apart. So if you haven't got good packaging, if you don't have good tools, if you don't have good marketing materials and things like that, then working on the business is when you do that. Working in the business is when you take care of buyers, sellers, contracts, paperwork, things like that. And then you've got to look at your presentations. Do my presentations win me buyer contracts? Do my presentations win me listing contracts? Am I an effective communicator with my buyer presentation and my listing presentation? Do my presentations impress to get people to sign up for me? And work on what to say and how to say that and do that and what to do that, and be a powerful presenter when it comes to the time when you're on, and you got to be ready, and you don't know when it's going to happen. And then last but not least is my positioning. So am I meeting and adding new names, adding new numbers, new contacts? Am I setting appointments? Am I converting to appointments? Am I adding people to my database? Am I closing listings? Am I closing sales? Am I having and getting results and testing and tracking my positioning? Okay, so those are other areas where we look at. I challenge to just recap and review yourself on successes. So, hey, I got a killer pre-listing package done and I'm so proud of it. Everybody needs one of these, okay? You need a pat in the back and you need to look at it. And you need to look back and say, hey, I got this done and I love it. And hey, I did this and I presented this and it worked. And so always track and measure and celebrate and look back at your successes and track your successes. And then look at what are your biggest challenges, right? And your ability to be creative, resilient, be able to think outside the box and provide solutions to your clients' challenges, solutions to your challenges is what makes the good agents the best agents, right? They're solutions type of people. They just, okay, this is a challenge. What do I need to do? This is a challenge for me. What do I need to do? This is a challenge for my clients. What do I need to do? So being that kind of person that's creative, that's thinking outside the box, being adaptive, just being able to do that and your ability to do that in COVID times and that, I'm so excited for us. I mean, besides the fact that the Habs are playing in the semifinals tonight, thank you, sweet baby Jesus, go Habs, go. And the fact that we're going to a movie theater tomorrow, I actually bought movie tickets. I cannot wait to go to a movie theater tomorrow night and see a flick. I'm a huge movie junkie. I think that Bootstraps Bonnie is not going to be able to hold us down anymore. You guys are going to be doing open houses. We're going to have a golf tournament in September. Like, I'm jacked about this thing, what's going to happen in that. So I guess from your standpoint, COVID ain't going to be an excuse anymore not to play this game. So, and I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying is that, like, I think people are going to be flocking to open houses because they haven't been able to snoop and go to an open house for 15 months. I may be wrong, but I think there's going to be a mass surge on things that, social, travel, theaters, open houses, going to the mall, all that stuff and opening up and getting out there. Cause I don't know about you guys, but I'm jacked that, masks might be an option by July 1st. Love it. Perfect. Goodbye. See you later. So it's exciting times for you guys, and you're not going to be able to sit back and hide from the pandemic anymore. Is everybody clear that we are in the relationships business? We're in the full contact sport, belly to belly, face to face, speaking moistly on each other. That's what we were designed and created to do, right? So we're going to get out there and speak moistly on each other again. We're going to get out there and do this, that. I'm not being insensitive. I'm not being unsafe. I'm just jacked that we'll be able to do what we do, and we do people, right? We do people. That's what we do in this business. And if you don't like people, maybe this isn't the right job. If you don't want to speak moistly on people coming up like I do in the future, I freaking hate that I cannot talk to you guys face to face. This system pisses me off. I'm so sick of Zoom, so sick of GoToMeeting. I cannot wait to see you guys in the training room, and I can speak moistly all over you. I'll try not to spit too much, but we're going to connect. We're going to hang. We're going to do this, right? I can't wait. Cannot wait. Okay. Right. So I'm jacked for you. I'm jacked for me. I'm jacked for all of us. Okay. So next question is, what are the solutions to the challenges? Next question, what do I really need to focus on? Write this down. Implementers and executors. Gary Vaynerchuk. I love him, right? Love him. GSD. Get shit done. Implementer executors. You come up with an idea, guys. Don't implement and execute for anybody else but yourself. Act on it. Implement it. Do it. Put it into place in that. And commit to yourselves that you're going to be implementers and executors. That's the focus, is doing, not saying, right? Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. Okay. Do it or not do it. Do not try. Okay. So the reality is implementation and execution when you come up with these things is key. So how many of us have to-do lists? Well, not to-do lists, but I have a I need to do list. I have doing list, and then got done list, right? So write this down. Do, doing, and done. Right. And is real estate a massive elephant? Yes, it's a massive elephant. Like, Wade, you come on here and you fire hose us with ideas and stuff like that. I get that. But guys, it's an elephant, right? The Rebecca's and the Danas and all the other people in the call on that. Was this like a gigantic elephant? And did you just chip away and eat it one little bite at a time and things got easier for you? Yes or no? Right? Was it overwhelming? And did I spew out constant ideas and stuff like that? And sooner or later, you're like, okay, the elephant's not as big. I got the hind leg eaten. Okay, I've got the next leg eaten. I've got his tail eaten. I've got his snout eaten, right? You just chip away at it and it gets easier, guys. I mean, I'm just encouraging you that for every single one of us on this call, it was like an overwhelming giant elephant, and you just chip away at it and eat it one little bite at a time. Okay. And the last question I always ask is what can I do to help you today? What can you do to help yourself and focus on it? And that will change your game changer. That. So I'm going to give you this template. And if you want to share your challenges, right? If you want to share what tips and what you need from me, fire it through an email, fire it through a text. I'm glad to help. I'm glad to do that. Francis is glad to help. Steve's glad to help. Jeremy's glad to help. Dave's glad to help. Any of us are here to help and serve you guys, but here's a template to keep yourselves on track and what to look for. And this is how I keep my paid coaching clients holding themselves, and I help them hold themselves accountable and keep them on track. There's a great sports video, a UCLA basketball player, and there's this teammate, and the guy misses a three, and he puts his head down, and he's got his head down walking back of the court. And this little guy on his team runs over from UCLA on his basketball court, and he grabs the kid and he moves his head up like this, tilts the guy's head up, touches him on the side, pats him on the back, and like, let's go. We'll come back to court and we'll score it next time. That's the kid. I'm the kid that's lifting your chin up, patting you on the back, getting you on the side, and get your head up and keep going. And let's play a game and let's keep rolling and playing this game, right? So if you need me to tip your head up because it's hanging down, so be it, right? But you guys have also got to reach out and ask for help and ask for that support and that mentorship. Is there any questions on this template? And is this template helpful for you guys to hold yourselves accountable and what to track and what to measure and what to look for bi-weekly or monthly? Is this helpful for you guys to see what it is that you track and measure and to keep on track? We're good? Any questions, any explanations, any comments, concerns, anything like that? Right? So this will be in your email coming at you. I'll send you the recording from today. I'll send you this as a template, and this will just help you guys remind yourself of being on point. Okay? And what it is that I help as a coach to keep people on track and measure and look for and remind and get back on track. Get back on track, right? It's not easy, but that's the goal and that's the job from the coach standpoint, okay? So I'll send you that template. All right. Next screenshot. So this is the mid-year point, believe it or not. Holy crap, we're almost finished the first half of the year. So I want you guys to spend some time in the next 2 weeks on this as an assignment, okay? And can anybody explain to me, why does Wade make us research the market? Why does Wade look at the stats and look at the graphs? And why does he make us track and measure and look at all this stuff? Like, what do I need to do? Why do I need to do this stuff? So I want to show you that it's mid-year, and I think it's incredibly important for all of us to look back and see what the hell just happened the last 6 months. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just like, what happened the last 6 months? Like a half a year of 2021's gone. It's time for us to sit down and assess and look and track and measure. So would you agree? Let's just look at this information here that I'm going to get you to look at. Would you agree that it would be beneficial if you knew what average price was and you knew what average price was trending? Would it be beneficial if you knew what median price was and what it's trending? Would it be beneficial what days on market's doing and how it's trending? Would it be beneficial to know what the average price is for an average list price to sale price is for a seller? And would you agree that it's important to know what the expiry rates are and what listings taken versus listings sold numbers are? And what's the total sales and product types? And what's the total listings year to date? And how did it compare to past years? Would it be beneficial to know what the top 3 price ranges are in Kelowna? What are the top 3 product types in Kelowna that people are buying? What are the top 3 areas where they're buying? Okay. What's the top 3 demographics and who's buying and who's selling? What are the top buyer types? What are the top months for all the sales? What are the top months for all the listings? Right? Where are they coming from and where are they moving from? Right? What's trending in 2021 in comparison to last year? Where's the market going and trending in that? And what's happening? Would you agree that if you look at this, this would improve your perception as an expert in the field of this? If you knew this stuff and you knew this information, would you agree that it would help you with your perception in the marketplace? Yes or no? Would you agree that this would boost your self-confidence and your knowledge and your ability to know things? Would you agree that it will just make you strut and swag instead of being shy and nervous in that, right? So I'm not doing it for you because I want to torture you and treat you like you need a root canal and an enema. That's not what I want you to do this for. I want you to do it so that you know the information and know what's going on and what's trending in that, so that you can strut and you can talk and you can share and you can be out there and be confident calling yourself a real estate professional, right? Real estate professional. So this is why I want you guys to spend the time doing that. So Wade, how do I get all the information to these answers? Okay, right? How do I get information for these answers? Here's what I want you guys to do. If you don't have the latest stats and graphs from our office, they're on the portal. Okay, we always have the stats and the graphs on the portal. And if you can't find them on the portal, then get them from reception, guys. Get them from a receptionist. So look at the Royal LePage stats, look at the 13-month, the month over month, look at the graphs, study them, and use that data to answer those questions. Okay, then go to Interior Realtors, the board. Go to interiorrealtors.ca and look at their stats and look at their graphs. Okay, so if you want to find out the top neighborhoods and the top sales prices, I don't know why, but it's only available on the board's graphs. They only graph it. They don't stat it, they graph it. So you'll actually see the graph lines of the top trending prices and the top trending sub areas on the graphs off of the the Interior Realtors website on their stats. So go to interiorrealtors.ca, look on statistics and pull off the statistics and pull off the graphs and pull off the stats and graphs from last year's same month and this year's same month and look and see what's trending. Look and see what's trending. Okay. Now, how do I look at sub areas? Well, thank you very much, Wade. I did this last year, but I'm going to give you my template because I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to give it to you. So this is what I did last year. I looked at what the year did in comparison to 2019, listings wise, and inventory current, and single family listings and mobile listings and townhome listings and condo listings, and looked and saw trends and things that were happening. Interesting. Last year, condo listings were trending more than they were the previous year, but every other category, right, was down. Is that an interesting statistic to know that listings in condos was trending higher year over year last year, and all the other product types were trending way lower than they were year over year? Was it interesting to see where sales were trending? Was it interesting to see what the list to ask price was for a seller? Yeah, what was DOM doing? Well, DOM was actually, oddly enough, longer than it was for the previous year, right? And then I looked at the sales for acreages, the sales for duplexes, the sale. All of this information, guys, is on the statistics off of the board stats and off of our stats. I'm going to give you this template so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure out what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm looking at inventory on the first section. Then I'm looking at sales, and I'm looking at total sales and a list of sales and days on market. Then I'm looking at sales, certain types of sales. Then I'm looking at days on market for certain types of inventory and how they're trending. Okay. Then I'm looking at the expiry rate and what was expiring and what was selling. Like right now, I think that the expiry rate's in the 20 percentile. Last year, it was in the 38 percentile. So like 80% of all inventory in the market's selling and only 20% is expiring. So what a great number to know if you're thinking of selling, because you got an 80% chance of selling this year versus right a 62% chance of selling the previous year. Like it's that much better this year to sell in the list. Then you look at the different price ranges and see what price ranges are trending and what price areas are trending and what for listings and sales. And then what sub areas are trending for listings and sales. So I go onto Matrix and do a year-to-date search for each area for listings, and then a year-to-date search for sales in that. And interesting enough, like there were only 33 sales last year in Crawford and 47 listings, right? And then there were only like 61 sales in Ellison in that, but then there was like 300 in Big White listings and 213 sales. So look at this, Glenmore listings and sales. So go into Matrix and do searches on Matrix, you guys, and write down physically and track the total year-to-date listings and the total year-to-date sales and how they're comparing to the first 6 months last year. And is that important information to relay to clients that, you know, you can throw these numbers around and prepare this information and share this stuff. And you can do it on social media. You can do it on video. You can do it at a dinner party. You can do it in written reports and email reports. You can do it on lead gen stuff and that. So having this data and having this statistical information, there's just so many different things that you could do and use that. So take the time to recap here. Take the time to look at the mid-year market as stats and the graphs, right? Look at what's going on. Find out what's happening. Empower yourself with content. Empower yourself with knowledge. Empower yourself with confidence. Empower yourself to differentiate and set yourself apart And it's not just enough to have this data, but share it, get it out there, right? Be able to show people that you know what's going on, you know what's trending. Okay. Does anybody know what's happening with listings and sales the last 5 weeks, including tomorrow? You watch. Does anybody know what is trending right now with listing inventory and with sales inventory right now? Has anybody been watching? Every week, Sarah posts on our Royal LePage Kelowna Facebook page what's trending and what's happening. Is anybody seeing that? You should be looking. Every Tuesday morning, she posts on the Royal LePage Kelowna Facebook page what's going on with listings every week and what's going on with sales. Can anybody tell me what it's been trending and what it's been doing the last 5, including this week, the next 6 weeks, what it's been doing? What's listings been doing, guys? Been going up. Does anybody know how it's going? Listings have been going from 190 a week to sometimes 280 a week, you guys. Look at what the market's doing right now. Inventory is rising, which means people are listing, which means that we're going into a balanced market, which means, right, to do that. Is the Interior Realtors the best site? Yeah, absolutely. So is Matrix and so is Royal LePage's stuff, right? So our stuff that we do in the stats, God bless Francis and Steve, that we have for graphs and stats and things like that is unbelievable. So is the Interior Realtors page and their stats and graphs. Like, you guys have access to like the most killer data of any company and any resource of any realtors in the marketplace, because those boys do a good job of providing that stuff on the portal and a good job of explaining it. And the first meeting of every Tuesday is always Francis disseminating the data. If you don't know what the hell the graphs are saying and you don't know what the stats are saying, I get it. That's not your jam. Then come and listen to Francis explain it so that you can at least start to sound like Francis and know what the hell the data is saying in that, right? And looking at it. So if you look at the market snapshots, inventory, guys, is rising, which means that more inventory, listings are up, people are selling right now. It's easier to get listings. We're moving towards a balanced market. You're going to be able to put subject to the sale of in there. You might put in subject to financing, a home inspection. Things are trending to a better market. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. We're getting into a better market for buyers, right? And sales are starting to peter off, not collapsing and crashing. They're starting to trend down. So sales have been going from like 235 for the last 5-6 weeks to about 170, 180 a week, guys, right? So we're starting to maybe see some buyer resistance, some greed and sellers to stick it. We're starting to see that people aren't going to jump into this multiple shenanigans, and we're not going to write unconditional, no home inspection, no financing clause. That. So the market is trending and shifting slightly, not panicking, and that. I love where the market's going. My prediction, and you can hold me to this, on June 14th, 2021, I think we're going to be in a balanced market, equal buyers, equal sellers by September, October, November, right? Which I love. It's a killer market. But you guys have to know the stats and know what they're doing. Pay attention. You have to disseminate them. You need to make judgments and calls on it, your advisors, and letting people know what's trending and anyway, but not instilling fear like the government does, right? I'm not panicked about it. Right? I'm excited about it. Like, I'm excited for the buyers and the sellers in this marketplace. Like, if you wanted to get top dollar and you wanted to get greedy as a seller, well, you just missed that boat. That ship has sailed. Okay. Write this down, guys. When the market shifts, what price range does the market shift in first? The high end or the low end? When a market shifts, what price range does market shift occur first? High end or low end? You're right. High. Okay. And then when does the market shift? When it goes up, the first place that the market shifts is in the low end. When it goes down, the first place is it shifts in the high end. Okay. Right. So that's what we're going to start to see is if you have luxury high-end clientele in that are wanting to list, I show them the data that I'm telling you about. Show them the Tuesday morning posts the last 6 weeks, guys, and tell them to get their damn houses on $2 million or $1.5 million higher. Get them on the market, because she is starting to shift, and it starts on the high shift. And it may not even get to the low price range because things are so damn expensive that I don't even know if we'll see a shift in the low end at all, right? If that makes sense. So there's a reason to reach out to people on that high end and look at it. There's a reason to reach out to your buyers and say, hey, things are getting better for us. So you're saying there's a chance, just like our COVID crap that's going on, just like the market. Good news, positive things. That you're the trusted advisor. It's your responsibility to share that information and what's trending, what's going on. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. Am I right? I don't know. But I look at the data and I'm making educated analyses and comments about what I think is to be true. And I can do that because I've been doing it for 30 years. Okay. I can do that. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you think the market's going to do? Well, in 2008, it crashed all around the world. And we've been trending since '08 to 2013. And then we started going back up. So we crashed in '08. And then the only thing wrong about the Habs, Gary, seriously, man, I'm going to have to cut you off this call if you ever make that comment again about the Habs. That's, oh my God, I just got cross-checked by somebody on coaching. Guys, give me a minute here. Got to get back and pick my stick up again. And so the reality is this, is that we crashed in '08 and then we were downtrending, not crashing, but we were downtrending till 2013. We've been going up, guys, since 2013 to 2021. How long has that cycle been, that up cycle, guys? For those of you who don't are good at math, 221 minus 213 means 8 years. 7-8 years we've been trending up, okay? So how long is a cycle usually in a marketplace? Historically, they're as long as 7, 8 to 13 max. So what do I think the market's going to do? It's going to correct itself because it needs a place to go down and then a place for us to go back to. It's not doom and gloom, and I'm trying to preach that it's going to crash, but right, cycles only go from 7 to 10 to max 12, 13 years. Well, we're in year 8. So what do I think is going to possibly do? We're poised for a bit of a correction here. We need somewhere else to go. When we're at average price at $1 million for a single family detached, that probably says that we might need a little bit of a come to Jesus and a bit of a correction here. I'm not wishing into that. I'm just saying that's what my professional opinion doing this 30 years and seeing 6 or 7 corrections and adjustments and cycles, because this business is cyclical. It does this. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay. That's our job, to advise what the cycles are doing and how it's trending. Any questions about the mid-year market analysis? Any questions on where to get the data and inventory? Any questions on what to track and measure and what to explore? I've added this screenshot of what I want you to look for. Okay, template into your email. So this is on there. So you have a template to what to look for and study. And then you have this template of what I did and what I track and measure myself and what you can use as a guide to track and measure yourselves. And then I'd love to hear what you guys think is going to happen and what's going on, and looking at what you think the trending is going to be and what's going on in the marketplace, and pay attention to the numbers, pay attention to the stats. Any questions, any comments, any concerns on that information and tracking and measuring and doing your mid-year market analysis? Everybody think it's a good idea to do that? Be helpful for you guys to know what's going on? Trust me, it'll empower you. It'll set you apart. Your clients are curious. They're always wanting to know what's going on. All right, next item up for bid. Okay, write this down. The number of people a day that I need to talk to, plus the number of appointments a week that I need to be in front of, plus the number of transactions I need to produce a month, equals my goal, my dream, the life that I want to create. Okay, be honest with yourself. Has anybody not sat down and looked at the top-down planning tool? Is there anybody on the call that needs to go back to the top-down planning webinar on Agents Boost and watch it and get the top-down planning Excel sheet and figure out your people per day, your appointments a week, and your deals a month? Can anybody just quickly tell me what their people a day is number out there? Give me an example. Does everybody know what their people a day number is? This is the number based on your dollar goal that you have to talk to. In the top-down planning tool is the number of days. So Tyrell's got 6. Thank you, Tyrell. 6 a day. Right? Leslie, 6. Good. 6 a day. So most people's numbers when I do the top-down planning go between 4 and 10 a day, just to help you out. Most people's their number is 4 and 10 a day. So next question is, am I finding a way to get in front of the number of people a day? Creatively, safely? Am I out and about, and am I finding a way to get in front of it and connect with it and following up and focusing on my people a day? Okay. Now, anybody want to share what their appointment per week is? What's your appointment per week number? Most people is an appointment every 2 weeks, or an appointment every week, or an appointment every 3 weeks. That's what I normally see when I do the top-down planning numbers with coaching clients, is usually 1 a week, right? Top hitters, maybe 2 a week. But at the end of the day, they normally have an appointment every week or an appointment every 2 weeks. And are you finding a way to get that sit down, finding a way to get that appointment, finding a way to present to a buyer, present to a seller? That's your focus. My focus is how do I get in front of my people a day? How do I get my appointment a week? And then how many of you, what's your goal for transaction for your income? What's your transaction goal number? You should have 3 numbers: the number of people I need to talk to a day, the number of appointments a month, and the number of transactions a month, or sorry, number of appointments a week and the number of transactions or deals a month that will equal my income goal. Okay. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you do it. So Wade, how do I focus on those 3 numbers and how do I develop a habit? Okay. So habit number 1 is the people per day. Okay. So the goal is always this, write this down. And I don't know why lead generation and prospecting becomes like this Ebola outbreak word or something like that. Like agents are actually terrified and scared of the word lead gen or prospecting. Okay. So I'm going to call it seeing the people. I'm going to call it my people a day. I'm going to call it adding somebody new to my database or qualifying somebody in my database. I'm going to call it whatever it is. Whatever you need to get psychologically around prospecting a lead generating, it's just simply people a day. Okay. So I go around and out and about and talk to people to find people that don't have an agent of choice. Guys, what are the 2 scripts that I taught you or you should use to go out and about and talk to people to see if you can add them to your database and if they don't have an agent of choice? What are the 2 scripts, please? Script number 1 is the Ford technique, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Script number 2 is the mayor campaign dialogue, right? So get a hold of the mayor campaign dialogue script, get a hold of the Ford script, practice it, learn how to be out there, learn how to chitty chat with people, learn what to say, how to say it in that, right? And do that. Wear your name tag everywhere you go. Everybody asks you, hey, how's the market, right, Dana? Great tip. Wear your name badge. Don't be a secret agent. You're standing in the grocery store line trying to pay for things. Oh, how's the market? And you're like, oh yeah, right. I got my name tag on. Huh. Winner, chicken dinner, right? So all of those ways in which you can just talk to people and use the Ford technique and use the mayor campaign technique. Now, the other thing I got to do is I got to talk to people that already know me, okay? So I got to talk to people that already know me, and I've got to Ford them and I've got to mayor them because I want to find out if they already have an agent of choice. So I got to go through and purge and qualify that list. Think about this, guys. When you add one person that doesn't have an agent to your database, you didn't just add one person, you added another 100, 150 people that they know. That's a good day. Think about this. If Tyrell's is 6 people a day, and you add 5 people that don't have an agent choice to your database a day, right? 5 days a week, okay? 50 days a year. I'm terrible at math, but 5 people a day, names, addresses, and phone numbers, right? A day times 50 weeks, right? Times 5 days a week. At the end of the year, you would have 1,250 people in your database that are now giving you a chance to be their agent of choice and have acknowledged that they don't have an agent of choice and would allow you to become their agent of choice. What would 1,250 people over the next year do for your income and do for your business, you guys? Think about this. 5 people a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year is 1,250 people that are now acknowledged that are giving you the opportunity to become their agent of choice. What would 1,250 people do to your business and do to your situation in a year's time? Game changer, game changer. And then those people know another 100 and 150 people. So each day I got to talk to my people. Each day I got to find people in my database and add them that don't have an agent of choice. Each day I've got to find a name, an address, and an email and a phone number and put them in. And each day I got to recognize that when I add somebody, I didn't add just one, but I added 100 or 150 that they know. Each day I got to go through all the people that know me and like me and trust me and mayor campaign them and ask them, could I be their agent of choice? Well, my sister's a realtor. Okay, delete. It's not going to happen. Do you guys know how many agents have a database list and they don't have the courage or the guts or any idea whether those people in their database, you're their agent of choice or whether they have somebody else that they would use? Is that a good model to have like 300-400 people in your database and you have no idea if you're their agent of choice because you haven't asked them that question? Right? So many agents are running their database on blind faith and clueless that they would possibly have a chance to be that agent of choice. And then the third thing is I got to take that and I got to add value to my contacts. I got to add value. Guys, what is adding value? Give me an idea what an add value activity is. So I capture them and I qualify them and then I add value to them. What is an add value activity, please, on a daily basis? A CMA. Good. What's an add value database? Add value. Personal handwritten note. A phone call. A text. Coffee. A gift card. A Popeye gift. Right? Those are all value adds. Information about what the market's trending. Right? All value adds. All of that stuff. Okay? So remember this, guys. You've got to see the people. You've got to be out and about. You've got to be forwarding and campaigning. You've got to either add someone to your database. You've got to capture somebody to your database. And remember that I didn't capture one. I captured 100, 150 today. I didn't just capture one. Good day. I've got to qualify people that already know me, like me, and trust me, and find out if I'm their agent of choice. And once I've qualified, once I've assembled and captured, then I can add value. And if I add value and I deliver the unexpected, then when they're out and about, they'll know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and they'll say, call Wade, call Leslie, call Aaron, call Dyrell, call Dana, they'll refer you when the time comes because you were top of mind and you added value. Is there any questions about every day focusing on the number of people a day and what to do? Is that helpful? We're good. Every week, okay? Now I'm not only in the contact capturing business, but I'm a lean, mean appointment setting machine. Write this down. I am a lean, mean appointment setting machine. I convert to a face-to-face appointment with the buyer or a seller who has indicated that they are going to buy or sell. And I get them to sit down with me and they sign a listing contract and they sign a buyer contract. Then I market the seller's home and get it sold. Then I find the buyer what they want to buy. And then I have to get that deal to the end and completion so I can get money, food on my table, pay my bills, have a holiday, have an adventure, and possibly retire one day. I am a mean, lean appointment setting machine. Write this down. You always get appointments by helping people aware of their challenges. Write this down. You're always helping people and converting to appointments by helping people become aware of their challenges. Please, what are the challenges of a buyer in this market? What are the challenges of a seller in this market? If you don't know what they are, you convert them, write them down, and then you convert them into a question. Hey, Leslie, just out of curiosity, you having a hard time finding what you're looking for? Yeah. Hey, Leslie, just out of curiosity, are you losing in multiples? Yeah. Hey, Leslie, just out of curiosity, is all your equity tied up in your home and you have to sell before you can buy? Yes, right? That is appointment conversion awareness. And I say, Leslie, if I could spend 20 minutes with you and sit down and share with you some of the solutions to those challenges in the marketplace, would you be interested in sitting down with me? Would you be interested in sitting down with me? That is the dialogue for appointment conversion, okay? So you need to understand what they're experiencing, understand their fears, understand their challenges, and let them know that you have solutions to those challenges, and we need to just sit down and get together. What would the worst thing would happen? What's the best thing could happen? Why don't we get together? LGT, let's get together. I am a lean, mean appointment setting machine. I want to sit down and then I show them my buyer presentation. Then I show them my seller presentation. And then I try to get them to commit me to a buyer's agreement and to a listing contract and get the signature. Okay. That is what your appointment is leading to. Okay. Then every month I got to focus on a transaction or a sale. Okay. And so if I get the appointment, then I get the presentation. If I get the presentation, then I get the contract. Then I get the contract and I got to negotiate on my buyer and seller and win the negotiation. Then I got to do all the due diligence and take that to the finish line so I can get paid out. And then they'll be raving fans of me and my business, and they'll tell other people on each of my transactions, and I'll eat food and I'll be happy and I'll be able to survive and be able to move forward in my business. Okay. So every day is about the number of people adding to database, qualifying the database, and adding value to that database. Every week, I want to get in front and be a lean, mean appointment setting machine and present to a buyer, present to a seller, and get them to sign and hire me with a buyer contract, a seller contract. Every month, I want to get a seller's home sold or a buyer to buy and get those subjects off, get that due diligence and get it to the finish line so I can get paid and they can rave about me and my business. Does everybody see what your daily focus is? People a day, appointments a week, and deals a month. Does everybody understand where their focus needs to be? Yes or no? Are there any questions on the people today? Any questions on the appointments a week? Any questions on the deals per month? All right. There's an analogy that Brian Buffini, a good friend of mine and mentor, uses. He uses our business is like a three-legged stool. And this is why it's so tough to be in this business, because you guys have to have expertise in three legs of the stool. Okay. You're three legs of every stool in every business. You're the CEO of your business, which means that you have to work on the business. Write this down. A working on the business meeting is always at the end of the week. This is a meeting where you look at and say, how do I grow my business? How do I develop my business? How do I lead my business? How do I structure my business? What's my vision of my business? What's my packaging? What are my systems? What are my branding? What are my business plan? What is my process? How do I build and grow and develop my business? That's the responsibility of you in the leg of owning a business and being the CEO. That meeting and that come to Jesus with yourself and growing your business happens at the end of the week, Thursday, Fridays. Does this make sense? How many of us need to have a working on the business meeting with ourselves at the end of each week and think about it and be still and look at what I can do to grow my business? Then you've also got to be the chief operating person. So you've got to be the COO of your business. So that's the working in the business. Okay. And that's the beginning of the week meeting. So I look at my people, I look at my presentations, I look at my appointments, I look at my marketing, I look at my prospecting, I look at my negotiating, I look at my paperwork, I look at my due diligence. That's the Monday, Tuesday meeting with myself and my business, the working in the business and being the COO, chief operations, ownership of the CEO is the working on the business. The COO is working in the business. Okay. Then you have to be the CFO. Okay. So now I have to work on the finances. I have to work on budgeting, income, expenses, profit, loss, taxes, planning, and looking at it, what's going on and what's going out and what's coming in and be the CFO. Does everybody agree that you're wearing three hats and operating three stools in the leg of a stool and three legs of a stool is not a faint at heart Poseidon adventure and a tough thing to do? Would you agree? Yes or no? Okay. But you have to look at those things and have planned, scheduled meetings on at the end of the week, how do I grow my business? At the beginning of the week, how do I work and build my business and manage my business? And then how are the financial looking and how are the finances and the profit and the P&L and that? How is that looking? And can I contribute to what I'm spending is making me money and has an ROI? So quickly, I'm going to give you some nuggets on financial management strategies, and then we'll close out the session. Is there any questions about the people a day, appointments a week, and deals per month? Any questions on those CEO, COO, CFO legs and building that stool and having that foundational and when to work on those things and when to do those things and what to do in those meetings? I gave you examples of what to do in those meetings here on this, and I'll forward this to you guys. Okay. Now, this is something that nobody ever talks about is how do I manage the finances and build the CFO hat. Okay. So first things first, guys, this is non-negotiable. You need to have a home budget. And I know this is going to terrify most of us. Oh my God, Wade, I don't want to know what I spend. That isn't a good plan. Okay. I don't want to know what my personal, what I want you to do is record and sit down and make a list of the non-negotiable personal monthly expenses. Write down and take time and look at the non-negotiable monthly expenses. Okay. Look at those. Look at the non-negotiable monthly business expenses. Okay. For those of you already in place, when you're looking at those business expenses, you're spending too little and too much if it's not in that 33 percentile of your income. I'll repeat this. For the veterans on the call, your business expenses, you're spending too little if you're in the 20 or lower percentage of your income expenditures, business-wise, and you're too high if you're over 33% of your income for expenses and your fixed monthly expenses for business expenses, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? 33% is kind of the magic number. Too little, spending on back and investing back in your business if you're in the 20 percentile or lower. Too much if you're over the 33% of your income expenditures. In the first year, I apologize in advance. You're going to have to pay to play. You're going to have to spend. It's not going to be pretty for the first year. Guys, be clear here. When Wade Webb sold real estate in 1992, and when he started at 21 years old, my dad and mom co-signed for a line of credit for me for 10 grand. I had pissed and screwed up my credit rating for parking lot tickets and a tennis racket for a girl that I had dated, right? And I went 10 grand in the hole, and I was ass broke, just like you guys are in your first year. That's what business startups look like, okay? Don't panic. Next year, I broke even. Third year, 6 figures, never looked back, right? And it's not pretty, but that's the reality, okay? That's the reality of it, right? And it'll be worth it, right? And it'll get there, right? You'll get there, and it'll be worth the investment in it, because that's why you wanted to be an entrepreneur and get into this, okay? All right. So then you look at it and say, okay, what's my minimum non-negotiable personal expenses monthly? What's my minimum non-negotiable business expenses monthly? And then you add on profit, and that equals your annual income goal. So many realtors don't have an income goal high enough to cover their personal nut and their business nut, and they're behind the red from day one, and they spend their whole career behind the red. Probably not a good business model financially. Okay, guys? All right. So when I spend a business expense, I always ask myself, did I credit that expense, and did it make me money, that business expense? Okay. All right. And then each year I always negotiate my personal expenses and ask my service providers my personal expenses, is that the best they can do? So I call Shaw, TELUS, switch my accounts. They hate me, but every year I take every penny prisoner on my personal expenses, and I ask them, is that the best they can do? Okay. On my phone, on my car payment, all that crap. Okay. On that. Now, do I have my business banking and my personal banking completely separated? If you don't, take warning. You can't mix the two, guys. So my personal expenses are at HSBC. Why? Because it's on this side of the office right here, and I can walk to it. So all of Tina and my personal expenses are run through the bank at HSBC. All my business stuff is why? It's at the Royal, because it's on the other side of the parking lot, and all my business stuff is run through RBC. I keep them separate banks, separate debit cards, separate bank cards, separate credits, separate everything, separate lines, all of it separated, so that I have a system and a process that I keep the two, right? Because you never want to mix your personal with your business, because if your business goes down, so does your personal go down. That's not a good plan. So ask yourself, do I need to separate my business banking and my accounts? Do I need to go get everything separate? Separate banks, separate cards, separate accounts, separate checks, separate line of credits? My suggestion is to you, absolutely do it, guys. Do it. Okay? Then my credit cards were always travel cards, so I could accumulate points and take vacations every year. And I'd put anything business-wise or personal-wise on and I'll talk about that, Tyrell Preck. I put all my business expenses and my personal expenses, if I can pre-authorize, on those credit cards, and I pay those credit cards off every month, so I can accumulate enough travel points and enough reward points so that I'm at least celebrating and taking a holiday for 2 every year off of my personal expenses and my business expenses using WestJet credit cards. There's WestJet, there's Alaska, there's Air Canada, all these travel cards and that, right? Take benefit and take a bonus of taking a vacation each year off of your miles and off of your expenses personally and professionally. Okay. Have separate debit cards, have separate checking account, have separate line of credits, have separate banking, separate banks, and that it'll help you guys sort it all and keep it separate. Okay. And pay your credit cards off each statements personally and professionally each month. Don't run them into a balance in that. So example, a credit card, if you keep it rolling, is like 29% or 20 to 29% interest. A line of credit right now, my line of credit is 4.5%. Okay. 4.5% interest on a line is way better than 29% on a credit card. Can I get a thumbs up? Would you agree? Okay. Way better. Okay. Bookkeeping. Okay. So I take all my receipts. I have a drawer as I walk in the house at the house. I dump them all in there, and then I pull them all out and I put them in envelopes, and then I get my statements and I give them to my bookkeeper. She's a single mom out of her house, and I get my bookkeeper share to do all my chits and all my statements every 5-6 months. Okay. She does it for a couple $100. Okay. If you're disciplined and you do your chits and you do your receipts and you do your statements and do all of that and track it all, that's great. but you want to have that. Okay, guys? For those of you that here's the pitfalls of agents getting audited. Okay, write this down. Travel, automobile, gas, and things like that. If you don't have the Mile IQ app downloaded on your phone, if you guys aren't tracking your miles on what's personal and professional, you're dead. You'll end up getting all your car expenses, your gas expenses, your insurance on your car vehicle, and that. All of it will be thrown out in an audit. Okay, all of it will be thrown out in an audit if you do not track what's personal driving miles and what's business driving miles annually. It's the number one place where agents get slaughtered. The second place you get slaughtered is when you're not tracking and you don't have a name and a phone number on meals and entertainment expenses. So on all of my chits or all of my receipts or all of my invoices for my credit card, I have a name and a phone number there. So when I got audited, I gave her my receipts and I gave her my templates, and she just handed them back because she saw I was tracking names and phone numbers, and all of my meals and entertainment expenses went through. No questions asked because I was tracking a name and phone number on there. Okay. Now, I go to a business line of credit, okay? And I use my business line of credit to weather the storm. So Francis and I have a business line of credit, guys. When you're not selling and the market slows down in the winter, we go into the line, guys. We go into it. Realtors go into the line. You're like, how the hell do realtors survive in the down market and the seasons and the winters and that? They go into in their business lines, guys. That's how they weather their cash flow times, and they borrow out of their business line. And then when their sales complete in the spring and the summer, they pay the line back down. Okay, so you have to have, so guys, let me just tell you this. In 08, Francis and I, right, he phones me in January 2009 and asks me how much cash I had. Francis and I needed to come up with $170,000 in January 2009 to pay our payroll out of our own pockets. We went to every bank that Francis and I had been dealing with, and they turned us down when it crashed. We've been dealing with those guys for years. They turned us down in a line to pay our payroll in January 2009. So while the getting's good, go get the lines and go get as much as you can in your lines, and every year bump your line up. I'm not saying to use it and get into debt and everything else and that. I'm just saying is that when the getting's good right now and the economy's good, you can get lines and you can get unsecured lines. So when I started in real estate, my unsecured line was 10 grand. It's sitting at 100 grand now because I kept pushing and pushing and driving it up, right? And then Francis and I couldn't even get a line of credit to pay our payroll in 2009 because every bank told us to get stuffed, and we were madder than hornets, right? They give our wives lines, but they wouldn't give us lines because they knew that the real estate market was in such a schmozzle, and there's no love coming from any lender, any bank, or any institution. There's sacks of crap when this thing turns and that. So get your lines and get your lines up as high as you can while the getting's good, because if it turns, they're going to stick it to you and they're not going to give you a cent. I can speak to it firsthand when it shifts. Okay? Right. Pay yourself first. So I still do this, Francis and I. We pay ourselves personally every 2 weeks. And then we pay our monthly business expenses once a month. And we write physical checks. We write physical things. That's what it means to pay yourself first. So you write a check every 2 weeks for your personal nut, what you need for your minimal non-negotiations out of your business line. And then you write your business expenses and pay them at the beginning of the month. Guys, what would it do for some of you if you physically had a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks for the rest of your career? For your spouses, for your girlfriends or boyfriends, for yourself and your, right? I've always paid myself a salary every 2 weeks so I can keep my personal nut going, keep Tina at bay, okay? And keep everything rolling. And same with my business expenses, so I'm not robbing from Peter. They're paid. I'm paid every 2 weeks. Business is paid every month, and I can go do what I do best because I'm not robbing from Peter and Paul and trying to worry about where the money's coming from, and I draw it from the line. And then when the money's come in and the deals close, I pay those lines down. Does this make sense? This is what they mean by the richest man in Babylon, is what they mean by paying yourself first, guys. When I started in real estate in 92, my dad and I would pay ourselves every 2 weeks. I still do the same thing with Francis. I pay myself, and then at the end of the year, if there's money left over, great. Then I'll look at maybe doing some investing, or maybe I'll do some RSPs, or maybe I'll do stuff with that, or maybe I'll, right, and do all of that, okay? Now, when you draw money, pay the tax on it immediately. Why do you pay the tax on it immediately when you draw the monies? Why do I pay the tax immediately, guys? Because right now there's probably 36 realtors trying to figure out where the hell they're going to get their tax money from Sierra right now, right? I'm not exaggerating, guys. And then you ready for this little nugget here? What you earned last year, you get taxed on quarterly the next year. So say you had a great year last year, you get a tax bill every 4 months for what you made last year for your taxes payable next year, and agents have a bad year and they don't have any monies behind, or they're lying and they can't pay their taxes because you're being pre-charged for the taxes based on the money that you earned last year. Trust me, I've had bad years, 07, 08, different, or 97, 08, and they tax me on the previous income year, and they don't care if you're having a bad year. They want their tax money based on what you made the previous year. Does everybody know that that's how CRA works, right? The Lord giveth and the government destroyeth. That's how it works in Canada. Okay, I still love the country, but that's how it works. And you don't have to worry about paying the tax bill. You don't have to worry about your GST. You don't have to worry about CRA in April. You don't have to worry about getting a garnishee. We get a garnishee from 12, 20 realtors every May, June in this office because agents aren't planning appropriately based on their tax bill. Okay, right? Leave excess cash in the company. So we get into the prec. So real simple answers. There's a question about incorporating. Guys, write this down. If you spend everything you make, you do not need to incorporate. If you're actually leaving money and income behind, a lot of income and money behind, then look at an incorporation. That's the simple conversation I'll ask you. Do you spend everything you make? Oh, hell, I spend everything I make and more, Wade. No reason to incorporate. The only reason why you incorporate is money's being left behind in the company, in your business, and then you can take a tax advantage on taxing it at a lower amount. Okay, does that make sense? I max out my RSPs every year just because I want to get the deduction, the 33% deduction on my income tax, right? It's the only way I can do that, right? Remember the difference between TFSA and RSP. TFSA, you get the tax benefit on the growth. On the RSP, I get the tax benefit on my previous year's income. So I'm always maxing RSPs at 33% tax break on my income against my income that I earned previously because I don't want to pay them anything if I can. So I try to max up my RSPs. Okay. Last rule, the rule of 72. Does anybody know what the investing rule of 72 is? Does anybody know what the investing rule of 72 is? If you take the number, the percentage, say I get a 6% return. If you divide any number, the percentage of return into the number 72, if you divide that, so say it's 6. If I divide the number into 72 by 6, I get the number 9. Did you guys know that that is how many years it takes and that initial investment will double every 9 years? Does anybody know that? The rule of 72. So if you take any percentage of investment, divide it into the number 72, that'll give you the number of years that your initial investment doubles. Divide that by 72. Okay. The last thing I'm going to teach is the 70-10-10-10 rule. If you can learn to live on 70% of your income and save 10, donate 10, and invest 10, right? You'll become a millionaire in 10 to 15 years. Okay. The 70-10-10 rule. If you read all the money books and all the things that, if you can figure a way that you can live off of just 70% of your income and you can save 10, invest 10, and give away 10, right? You'll build a wealth and you'll build to be in a millionaire status within 10 to 15 years. Okay. Now, change that number right now to 97,111 for some of you, okay? 97,111. So you're taking 97% living on it, 1% in savings, 1% in investing, and 1% in your giveaway, right? Investing side of things, right? Okay. So change that number. And if you get from 97,111 and then keep raising that number and going it, that's how you build wealth. Last tip. I built all my own wealth on buying and selling real estate myself, not serving clients, by buying and selling real estate myself. When this shifts and the opportunity comes, the agents that have savings that can buy what they do will become more wealthier buying what they do than they will selling and buying houses with people day to day, just so you know. That's the secret sauce. Buying and investing in what we do when the opportunity comes, but having the cash and the savings and the ability to buy what we do. Okay. I'll send you the sheet on it. I did a webinar on financial management strategies and went a little bit deeper on it on Agents Boost. You can check it out. Is there any questions on the home budget and the business budget and figuring out your non-negotiable business expenses and your personal expenses? Any questions on banking separately? Any questions on structuring it and paying yourself first? Any questions on leaving cash or precking? Is there any questions on maxing RSPs, the rule of 72, the 70-10-10-10 rule? I'm a huge advocate that you should have 3 to 6 months cash savings to cover your personal business expenses. That's your ultimate goal. Do you have that now? Maybe not, but if you can plan on it, build it, right? Build it. Work on getting it. Get in access to some funds and get in access to a line that you can tap into this winter, right? And do all of that. All right, you guys, I'll send out the recording. I'll send out the templates. I'll send out all the information that we shared today. Hopefully you find it incredibly helpful. You guys, looking forward to seeing you guys face to face. Come by, say hi in person. Go and introduce yourself to all the other nut bars on my team here that haven't met all you guys and that. Come around the office. Don't be strangers. Right? We're going back to the good times. Go Habs, go. Thanks for your time, everybody. You guys be safe, be kind, rock and roll. All the best. Bye for now.